What's happening, guys? This is Nagpal for iGyaan, and today we're going to be reviewing the new LG L90 Duo. This is the new L90. A fantastic thing. Build quality is pretty good. It is a 16,000 rupee phone that runs Android KitKat out of the box. 16 to 17,000 rupees actually. So if I say 16, people are going to start holding it against me. So it's a 16 to 17,000 rupee phone that you can get in the market. Now, with respect to the build quality, it's pretty nice. We've got this texturized back panel. That despite the fact of it being really texturized, is quite slippery to hold. In fact, I think the texture makes it extra slippery to hold instead of giving it grip. So that's definitely a non-feature or a feature that I don't like. You also have this silver line that goes through the device, around the device, so the bezel looks really nice, makes the device look a lot more premium than it actually is. You can see that you have a LG logo at the back over here. The main camera, the speakerphone. So overall build quality is nice. I would have liked a better back panel to possibly give it more grip, maybe a softer back panel. This is really rough and really slippery. It almost feels like it's going to slip out of your hand. The buttons are fairly tactile, but they're not very easily found, so they're quite tight into the device. So if you're just like scrolling your finger across, you might miss them. So they could have been a little more out, or they could have been a little different material. They could have been metal to give it a better feel, but they're just plastic. Now this guy has a 3.5mm headphone jack over at the top over here, and it also has a infrared blaster, which is fantastic. So if you want to use the television app in here, you can use that to control your television. Now, as you guys are already aware, this device runs Android 4.4.2 KitKat out of the box. It also comes with a new Qualcomm MSM 8226 Snapdragon 400. Why I say new is because the chipset has been redesigned, and it has been redesigned to work on devices like this. So that's why it's new. It's actually a quad-core chipset that runs at 1.2 GHz on all 4 cores, and you have Adreno 305 as the GPU inside. The device is pretty impressive in terms of its performance, and for the price that it offers, a great overall experience with the UI as well as the usability. Now over at the front you have a 4.7-inch display, which is a 540 by 960 pixel display, and you do have Corning Gorilla Glass. So build quality wise, this device is pretty impressive. You do have a rigid overall structure that does not squeak or creak or whatever, and you do have Corning Gorilla Glass, so you'll be happy with the device that does not attract a lot of scratches. It does not attract it is resistant to damage, etc. Now LG has included this SIM switcher button that is really convenient. So if you have 2 SIM cards in there, you can quickly switch from SIM 1 to SIM 2 using this button. Very convenient, and if you use both SIM cards at the same time, this feature will be really appreciated by you. I don't know why a lot of dual SIM device manufacturers don't put this button over here, and they actually should. Now you do have basic capability, as long as you can see you have most of the LG stuff here. So you do have a task manager, a quick task manager over here. You don't have those widgety apps that you get on other LG phones. You do have the quick memo application, so you can quickly start a quick memo like I demonstrated earlier. So you can take a screenshot and then take a memo on it, which is good. You also have Q-Slide applications that you can launch. So you can have a memo application, which is over here. Again, you can dim the application to make it more visible. You also have a bunch of other things like the calculator, file manager, etc. that you can have running at the same time. So I can dim this, I can bring this to the front, or I can bring this to the front, either way. So you have these applications. I've never actually used them. I've had the G2 for quite some time. I've never used these applications, but if you like using them, you have this feature, and it works well. In fact, for a price that this phone is available at, these features work really well, and I was quite surprised with that. So overall props to LG for doing that. Now if you go into the phone dialer, you have a really nice, fast, impressive dialer. So big buttons, no problems there whatsoever. You have your general set of contacts, call logs, etc. You can also quickly initiate messages from here, which is good. If I go into messaging, you'll see that the keyboard is an LG style keyboard, and I can customize the keyboard if I want to. So I can bring in one-handed operation as well. So if I want to bring the keyboard to one side, I can do that. You also have auto capitalization, auto punctuation. You can also split the keyboard, you can hide the keyboard, and you have additional settings that allow you to turn on vibration, sound, and preview. You can also change the theme of the keyboard to a black keyboard, a lovely keyboard as they call it, is multicolored, and a natural keyboard which makes it slightly woody and strange. So let's take a look at the lovely keyboard, and I'm going to demonstrate what that looks like. So if I go here, you can see it's very lovely, very lovely. No, but it's actually a fun color that the ladies might like, and some overly metrosexual men may enjoy this color, but it's really nice, interesting. Now, the one thing that LG has been touting and I've been talking about is the knock code blocking feature, and it's pretty impressive to use on this device. So if I go into display over here, go into lock screen and go into screen lock select, I can go into knock code. Now you have a million possibilities that you can create with this, and they could be in any form or fashion. So you can have up to 8 codes, so you can go whatever you want. But now, for example, I don't remember, so I'm going to reset it to what I can remember. So if I go, that's 8, okay. Again, so in most cases you'll forget something like this over a period of time, so you set a code, not such an easy code, but set a slightly more difficult code that you can remember. So this way, when you lock the device and when you want to unlock it, you can only unlock it in that manner, which is pretty fantastic. So if you have a code, you can tap as many times as you want, it's not going to unlock, but when you do this, it's going to unlock, which is great. Really nice feature, and I really like it. It uses a mix of the knock feature from the LG G2 as well as capacitive inputs. So both of those things combined together will allow you to create this knock code to unlock your device, which is great actually. So you can have any number of combinations as you want, and I'm going to just go and disable that because otherwise I'll not remember it. So that feature is good. It comes in really handy, and people who enjoy it, or people who like to keep their devices secure, will actually enjoy it a lot. You do have an inbuilt FM radio. The signal and reception is pretty good, and I really like this interface that they have over here. You can save a bunch of your radios. So if that is something that you like to do, if you like to listen to the radio, you have this really nice radio. You can star and feature a station, and you can save a bunch of stations at the bottom, so you can quickly jump from station to station without requiring any great jumps whatsoever. Now, we did run a bunch of benchmarks on this, so I'm just going to quickly go into my benchmark application, and I'm going to run a benchmark on this device real quick. So now if you go into quadrant over here, you'll be able to see that if I go into system information, you can see that it's already running KitKat. You have the processor details over here. You can see that out of the 1 GB of RAM promised, you have slightly less, and then only about 300 MB is free. This is the display resolution, which is over here. You do have the Adreno 305, and then if you want to look at the sensors, you can see that this device has a significant amount of sensors, and you also have a pedestrian activity monitor sensor, which I'm assuming is a pedometer, not a pedestrian activity monitor sensor. So let's run a full benchmark, and I am downloading some applications in the background, so this benchmark result may not be final. In fact, I'm downloading some games so I can show you guys whatever effect that has on this. But overall, this device is pretty good in terms of performance, and we're pretty happy with the overall end resultant that we've gotten from this device. Mostly you can see frame rates are pretty smooth even when the tests are running. So even though it's a pretty budget device, you can see it comes out on top with a score of 8049, which is impressive. And at the bottom, I don't know if you'll ever be able to see that thanks to the brightness. So you can probably see that the total is 8049, CPU is at 30,000, memory is at 2098, input output, then 2D graphics and 3D graphics. Overall decent performance from the device, no complaints there whatsoever. Camera is pretty basic. We have an 8 megapixel camera at the back, and let me quickly jump into that. It's pretty basic in terms of the fact that you do get decent quality images, and it does focus up close and personal, as you can see. And it's again designed almost identical to the camera application that we saw on the LG G2. If you jump into modes over here, you do get a bunch of modes You can also go into a normal shot from here. Again, I can switch to the front facing camera, and I can turn on or off flash, and then I can also switch from photograph to video by doing that over there. And then you can have some sort of a live effect in your video, so you can morph around the faces of the people you're trying to record in video, which is something that you wouldn't really want to do if you want to make some friends. You can go into video size and change it to full HD. As you can see, it can capture 1080p videos. We saw that images were mostly average, but the color capability of the camera is pretty good. So colors were almost accurate and exactly in place. Image capture speed is pretty good, and focusing quality is impressive as well. So no complaints with the camera overall, but it is an 8 megapixel sensor, and it is a sort of poor quality sensor, so you don't get the kind of quality that you can get from many other devices. But it's definitely a huge improvement over many of the other devices that you get in this price bracket. The camera is pretty impressive compared to that, and the camera application itself is pretty impressive as well. If you go into settings, you can see that you have these dual SIM card settings. So you can change the icon of the SIM card, and you can also change the SIM color theme, which is strange. You also have a cost save mode, which allows you to call only using a assigned SIM. So once you set the SIM one as your assigned SIM, it'll only make phone calls via that SIM. Again, you can turn on or off data on your SIM cards from here as well. So a good settings application that allows you to do that. Now, in terms of application, LG is not stuffed in a lot over here. So you can see your basic set of applications, Google applications, etc. You do have a dedicated update center, which is quite active actually. It updates all your inbuilt apps as well as other things. And you do get a voice recorder in here as well. What's interesting is that you get box storage free with this LG device as well. And then you have the LG Smart World application. And then you have the ThinkViewer application that allows you to manage documents, etc. Now I'm just waiting for Dead Trigger to be installed so that I can show you what the gaming performance is like on this. Now we did a factory reset, and I've been playing games on this device before that, and I'm pretty happy with the overall experience. It's actually a pretty impressive device for that price bracket, and I don't think you'll have any complaints with it whatsoever. So the game has been installed, and I'm going to quickly go into this and show you what gaming is like, and you'll be quite shocked. So you'll notice that loading times are pretty high with this compared to many of the other devices, and that's purely because of the Snapdragon 400 processor. You do have very low RAM on this device as well.
Let's roll.
So there you go, you saw that it handled that game without any problems, despite the fact that it has slightly low RAM on the inside, but we are pretty happy with the overall device. LG's managed to make a device that runs Android KitKat out of the box, has dual SIM capabilities, networks are strong, battery life is great, the display is good. It's not the best display that you can get in this price bracket. Of course, it's not an HD display or a full HD display. So that is something that is definitely going to be a limiting factor for many guys. It's a nice and large display, and it's possibly the largest phone in the budget display. It's the largest phone in this kind of budget, which runs Android KitKat out of the box in terms of screen size. So you have a 4.7-inch screen from a company like LG, which has done really well with their smartphones in the past 2 years. So they're definitely doing much more to give devices to the consumer. Overall handleability and ease of use is nice. You have a decent camera. This is not a pro user phone. It's not meant to be. It's meant to be a phone for people who do a lot of calling with a lot of usability on the home screen, basic features that work really well. I don't think you'll have any complaints with the LG L90 overall. It's a smooth, easy to use phone with basic features and capabilities. You do have an inbuilt infrared blaster, so you can control your appliances and your television, etc. A very nice rigid back panel. It could have been slightly more grippy. It's slightly slippery and I'm not too happy with that. Battery life is good and overall usability is good. We feel that this device is pretty awesome for the price that it's available at. And if you have any comments, of course, you can leave them in the comment section below, and do read the full review of the LG L90 on iGyaan.in. This was a quick review of the L90 dual SIM capability phone. Be sure to check it out on iGyaan.in. Catch us on Facebook, Twitter, Google+. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/iGyaan, youtube.com/iGyaanTV. Thank you guys for watching.